The Arizona GOP was just dealt a massive blow by none other than Trump himself, because he decided that it was most important qualification in a candidate to endorse in Arizona was whether or not they were an election denier. And sure enough, his 3 election denier candidates won their GOP primary. Trump was so excited, he put out a Truth Social post saying that we had a sweep in Arizona. Okay, sure. Having a sweep in the Republican primary, maybe he should take that win because it's going to be the last win he gets in Arizona. My name is Dina Doll, and this is the MeidasTouch Network. So the offices that he endorsed these election denier was the governor, the attorney general, and secretary of state. All 3 of those positions are actually key in order to safeguard and stand up to the federal government for elections. Just ask California and Governor Newsom, Attorney General Rob Bonta, and Secretary of State Shirley Weber. They have had to take many actions to protect the right to vote and voters' information in California. So it's not a mistake that those are the 3 offices and candidates that Trump wanted to make sure he got his election deniers in. But getting and winning the Republican primary is a whole other thing than winning a general statewide election. In Arizona, the voters are not the typical kind of Republican that maybe you would get in some other red states. No, they have this independent streak. Perhaps the most important thing for Arizona Republican office holder is that they believe in small government. McCain, maverick, infamously a maverick. He was reelected again and again because he was a reflection of the Republicans in the party. Those people who are still voting Republican for Trump, they most likely have left to become independents. I mean, look at even McCain's widow. She literally held a fundraiser for the current Democrat governor, Katie Hobbs. That's what happened to those McCain Republicans. They didn't suddenly become MAGA. But you don't have to take my word for it because MS Now interviewed a voter. And this is what she had to say about Andy Biggs getting the Republican primary nomination.
Andy Biggs is leading right now on the Republican side. I'm curious what you make of the election denialism and even voting not to certify the 2020 presidential election.
I would have more respect for our politicians and government leaders if they dressed up as pirates and then when they came and take our money, they were like, I'm a pirate. Because then we wouldn't have to go through the emotional gaslighting of pretending like they're doing any of this to help us.
Let's talk about Secretary of State, Republican candidate now for Secretary of State, Alexander Culloden. Election denier to a T. So much so that as a lawyer, he filed multiple cases trying to contest the 2020 election. He literally tried to get mail-in ballots in Maricopa County thrown out in order to flip the election for Trump. I mean, this is why, of course, Trump wants him in office. His big thing is making sure that he basically makes Americans not believe our elections are safe and does anything to disrupt our elections. He wants these 3 key offices in place for 2028. So Alexander Culloden filed all these lawsuits, so much so and in such bad faith that the Arizona State Bar literally had to put him on probation and publicly admonish him. That is really difficult for any lawyer to do something so bad to make that happen. We have a lot of not great attorneys out there, but to have the Arizona State Bar do that. And it's not as if, again, Arizona is some sort of liberal state. So this person who was put on probation as a lawyer because he did such a bad job and was so bad to the profession of law, now wants a promotion. He wants a promotion and he wants to be in charge of elections in the state of Arizona. Now, here's the thing. The current governor of Arizona, Katie Hobbs, she actually was the Secretary of State, a Democrat Secretary of State, overseeing the 2020 election. And the fact is, that actually is what kind of made a name for herself. It rose her into the public sphere, so much so that she beat Kari Lake, who was doing her own election denial campaign back in 2022. So you have this preview. You have the election voters who could have back then not liked the fact that she safeguarded the results and did not tip it in favor of Trump as he wanted. And they promoted her for that. And it's not even just her race. In fact, all of the election deniers have lost again and again in Arizona. In 2022 and in 2024. In 2022, you had the governor's race, you had the Senate race, and you also had the Secretary of State race. They have already tried to put a Republican in there and they lost. And then again in 2024, you had somebody running against Senator Ruben Gallego, who was an election denier. So the fact of the matter is Trump could take that Truth Social win as much as he wants because good for him. It's like a delusional person here at this point because it's like somebody must have fed him that this is a win. It's not a win. The history shows that Arizona voters don't like it when the federal government tries to come in and take away their accurate vote. Instead, it's the opposite. So Trump just did something for the Arizona political spectrum that is perhaps the thing that the Democrats just kind of wish he had done, because this is going to help Democrats win in the general election come November. I love a good blanket when I'm sitting on the couch. In fact, my whole family does. This is why we have multiple Lola blankets, because otherwise we all fight over one. The reason why Lola Blankets is also my favorite is because I have to wash it a lot with the kids and the pets, and most blankets, they don't look or feel very good after a few washes. But with Lola Blankets, there's no shedding, there's no pilling, they stay flawless. It's because they're double hemmed, they're machine washable, they're faux fur luxury. They look stylish. I mean, there's a reason why thousands of people love gifting them. They have over 20,000 5-star reviews. And one of the things that I really love so much about this company is they donate a portion of their proceeds to breast cancer research. In fact, the company was founded by brothers Tommy and Will, who saw it as their mission to bring life-changing softness to the world, inspired by their mom, who found comfort in her blanket while living with breast cancer. So Lola is dedicated to creating the highest quality products on the market. And for a limited time, our listeners can get 40% off select Lola blanket products with code MISTRIAL at checkout. Just head to lolablankets.com and use code MISTRIAL. After you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and let them know we sent you. Wrap yourself in luxury with Lola Blankets. So you have the Attorney General wanting to expand the unit, the election safeguarding unit, which we know if you're literally denying a valid election isn't quite safeguarding it. Secretary of State, who's been censored for lying to the court already about elections. And then the Governor Andy Biggs, this ultra-conservative election denier. Evidently, he was endorsed by Turning Point, which you think could possibly be a win for the state of Arizona. But actually, is it? I mean, Erica Kirk, who is now the head of Turning Point, tried to speak at a local Phoenix high school. She's from the Phoenix area. And there was so much backlash from the parents that they had to cancel it. It was a club. It was a Turning Point club who wanted to host her. There was such an outcry from the parents that this club had to cancel their on-site and have it go someplace else. So I'm not quite sure if this is another great endorsement in the state of Arizona. I mean, I grew up in Arizona, and the conservatives, the Republicans there, it is like the Wild West. They are proud of the fact that the federal government cannot tell them what to do. So having the federal government try to access their voter private information from having the federal government try to take their ballots and somehow say that they are not valid, that's not something that is a win for Arizona Republicans, Arizonians at large. My name is Dina Doll. Please subscribe to the MeidasTouch Network if you haven't already. Find the Mistrial audio podcast wherever you listen to audios. Help share, comment, download. That really helps support the podcast. And please be sure to check out the Mistrial sponsors. So grateful for the sponsors because they don't censor what I have to say, which in this day and age is so important.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.